Hello, this is John with Brainstorm Comics and Gaming, coming to you from Walkersville, Maryland, our location out there where we have a lot of back issues, a lot of graphic novels, a lot of board games, a lot of everything. Um, this is this week's The Storm Watch. The Storm Watch is where we take the top 3 DC, top 3 independent, and top 3 Marvel books that we think that you should pay attention to on this week's new release wall. For those of you who are joining us for the first time or who have not subscribed to our channel, don't forget to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe to your local comic book shop, Brainstorm Comics and Gaming, YouTube channel. We are rapidly approaching 200. We would like to reach that hopefully within the next 2 months. That's our goal. So by the end of September, we hope to be up to that. Rapidly approaching 10,000 views also, so thank you to everybody who's been watching the channel. Let's start this week with this week's DC Top 3. Coming in at number 3 this week is Batman Scooby-Doo number 4. This one made the top 3 for a variety of reasons. Number 1, it's just a fun read. We see a mashup of Batman and Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo from the 70s was always good for crossing over with characters, having fun guest appearances. So this one is in that vein. We have the crossover with Batman. We also have Batgirl and Nightwing in it. And then also it just has a good family appeal. You get to share your love of Scooby-Doo and Batman with your youngsters out there if you have a youngster. But let's go to the solicit for this one and see what it says. 1 or 2 monster masks might just mean there's a smuggler or crooked real estate developer in town. But when Gotham City is terrorized by an army of thugs in monster masks, it can only mean one thing: a citywide crime spree by Black Mask and his gang, the False Face Society. With Batman mysteriously missing, Nightwing and Batgirl up against a horde of crooked creatures, it's lucky that the heroes have help from Scooby and the gang. After all, who has more experience in pulling the mask off of bad guys? So, like I said, that is why this one has made our top 3. And let's move on to number 2. And that is Joker number 5. This one obviously is a little bit darker than the first one. This is a flashback to Joker's first night in Arkham, which leads us to our second point as to why this one made our list. James Tynion IV is exploring more aspects of Joker and Gordon and their relationship. There have been lots of twists and turns throughout the series. We're seeing a lot of development between the two, and James Tynion is just killing it on everything that he's writing right now. Let's go to the solicit and see what they had to say about what this one is about. The never-before-seen tale of the Joker's first night in Arkham Asylum is finally revealed. When a lunatic in a clown suit tries to poison Gotham City's reservoir and is placed in Arkham Asylum before his trial, Detective Jim Gordon realizes something's different about this new inmate that could forever change the future of Gotham. Rising star artist Sweeney Boo joins the series as things get worse and worse for Punchline and Bluebird. Punchline's prison war against the Queen of Spades escalates, and no prisoner at Blackgate Penitentiary will be exempt from choosing sides. And after barely escaping death at the hands of Punchline's former accomplice, will Bluebird have the will to continue her investigation and find the mysterious woman from Punchline's past who has the answers she's looking for? So, as I said, James Tynion is exploring all of the Bat universe pretty extensively, going into a lot of characters, background, and shedding some light on all of that. But there was one book that topped the list this week more than that one, and that is Infinite Frontier number 2, coming at number 1 on our top 3 DC list. For this one, we get more details about the future of the DCU. It is written by superstar writer Joshua Williamson, who's quickly climbing the charts in terms of importance in the DCU. And we are promised more secrets revealed in this one in terms of how we got to this state and the possible future of Future State. Let's go to the solicit. What secrets and changes lurk inside the newly expanded multiverse? The devious Director Bones of the DEO reforms a ragtag team to keep the new worlds at bay, but with highly skilled agent Cameron Chase recruited because the director needs her help or because he wants a patsy when things go south? Meanwhile, Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, takes drastic measures to find his missing daughter. Someone has kidnapped Jade, and Alan's going to find out why and bring her home. Plus, the resurrection of Roy Harper gives the former Teen Titans some unexpected and unpredictable new powers. I'm a huge fan of DC. They are doing some amazing stuff with the Infinite Frontier storyline going on. If you're a DC fan or maybe a lapsed DC fan, I would highly recommend you check out this series and even the things that have gone on over the course of the past couple months. But let's move on to our top 3 independents. Coming in at number 3, this one was on last week's list as well, Skybound X number 2. Number 1, this is written by Robert Kirkman. Obviously, he is quite famous at this point. He has helped put out Walking Dead and Invincible for Amazon. Walking Dead is a cultural phenomenon coming to a close soon. The comic book series ended about 1.5 years ago, and he is returning to that story, adding some more to that. And we also have been told, obviously, that this is not going to be collected in the future. So if you want to read these stories, the individual issues are going to be the only way to do so. Let's go to the solicit, though, and see what it has to say. The second chapter of the wildest Walking Dead story ever, Rick Grimes 2000, plus the debut of a major new Stillwater character, a rip-roaring murder falcon throwdown. So, like I said, first appearances, never collected. There's a lot of things to like about that one. Let's go to number 2, however. This is a new miniseries that some of you may be familiar with. It is Mouse Guard Alan Caregiver. This is the art in this is very good. I've liked this series for quite some time. If you're into fantasy, this is definitely going to be up your alley. It also will appeal to Redwall fans. Obviously, it is about mice in a fantasy type setting. It's just a sprawling fantasy with mice at the center of it. But let's go to the solicit. Which of life's biggest lessons can be learned from the smallest among us? A young mouse learns that compassion and kindness are the great virtues in the Alan Caregiver. Piper the listener finds a brave mouse venturing into wild country to learn the tongues of other beasts, and a grizzled old fur shares the lesson of putting a whisker out too far in the wild wolf. 3 poignant tales mark creator David Peterson's return to his beloved Eisner and Harvey award-winning series in this self-contained special. I will tell you also that even though the art is beautiful and it does deal with mice, it is not an all ages type story. There are deaths and such in it, at least in the previous ones. I don't know whether this one will have one. I just want to throw that out as a warning, however. So let's move on to our number 1 pick of the week, and that is Aftershocks Beyond the Breach. This one has made the top 3 for independence. Number 1, because it is a horror tinge title. And I know that I get picked on all the time for having an affinity for horror, but I think that those are some of the best stories out there in comics right now. It is written by Ed Brisson, the writer of Old Man Logan, which is another reason why this one makes the top list. And it is a nightmare-type world that infests our current world. So if you're a fan of Oblivion Song, this is one that you might want to check out as well. The solicit reads as follows. Life sucks for Vanessa. Her mother just died, and her boyfriend is cheating on her with her own sister. To clear her mind, Vanessa is taking the California road trip that she's been dreaming of for years. Her postcard-perfect drive through old-growth forest quickly turns when the breach hits. A bizarre anomaly in the sky plunges California into a nightmare world populated with strange, extra-dimensional creatures. Now Vanessa, along with Dougie, an orphan child, and Kai, a strange fuzzball of a beast, must fight to survive if they ever hope to make it back home, if there's even a home to return to. Written by Ed Brisson and illustrated by Damian Cusero, Beyond the Breach is a fantastical sci-fi road trip adventure about perseverance and finding family in unexpected places. So like I said, that one made my top of the list for being horror tinged, but also because it still sounds like it has a lot of hope in it and has a good message. Let's move on to the top 3 Marvel, however. Coming in at number 3 is Way of X number 4. Fans of Nightcrawler are definitely going to want to check this one out as he takes center stage. He's always been one of the more popular X-Men characters. Also, Legion is back and kind of heralding the return of Onslaught. If you were a fan of the X-Men titles in the 90s, you will remember the character. He's made several appearances since then. So this is one that you may want to check out and get kind of up to date on what's going on in Nightcrawler's world. Let's see what the solicit says, though. Kill no man, but some exceptions may apply. Nightcrawler must act fast to avoid catastrophe as the laws of Krakoa and physics are tested to their limits. Also, a nice family bonding session with no violent repercussions. Just kidding. This is Xavier vs. Legion in a boozed up tiki bar with the sanity of mutant kind at stake. So this one sounds like it's going to be lots of action involved, and if you're an X-Men fan, it sounds like one you will not want to miss. Moving on to number 2, that is Sinister War number 1. Nick Spencer's run on Spider-Man is drawing to a close. If you pay attention to any of the comic book news websites out there, you know that the death of Spider-Man is rapidly approaching. Another selling point for this one is Mark Bagley is doing the art. If you've collected Spider-Man over the last 20 years, Mark Bagley was synonymous with Spider-Man in the early 2000s because of his run on Ultimate Spider-Man. He did some work on Spider-Man before then, but I think Ultimate Spider-Man pretty much cemented his legacy with the character. In addition, there are 2 Sinister Sixes, one led by Doc Ock and one by Vulture, which is another reason this one might be pretty interesting. Let's go to the solicit, however. Dr. Octopus is back, and the Sinister War has begun. Ock's got a new Sinister Six, and if you think he's thought big in the past, think again. What Ock doesn't know is that the Vulture has a sextet of his own, the Savage Six. It's an all-out war between 2 of the greatest villains in the Marvel Universe, and the only person they hate more than each other is Spider-Man. Spidey's in deep trouble with the toughest battle that he's ever faced. Nick Spencer and Mark Bagley team up for this epic Spider-Man story, guaranteed to shock readers everywhere. So Marvel is ramping up the action and the adventure in Spider-Man for the conclusion of Nick Spencer's run. I believe that's ending with issue 74, if I remember correctly. So that's one, if you are a Spider-Man fan, you will not want to miss. And closing out our Storm Watch this week, coming at number 1 for Marvel, is Aliens Aftermath number 1. If you are a fan of the Alien franchise, this is one that you're definitely going to want to check out. This is a return to the Hadley's Hope colony, and it's adding to the lore of the franchise. I will say that this one has defied the normal pathway that comics normally tend to go. As this one continued, the first miniseries continued to go on, it added readers. Generally, you see a little bit of a drop-off and then an evening out of readers. This one kept adding readers with each issue. So people were definitely enjoying the run on that. But let's go to the solicit. For Alien's 35th anniversary, a return to Hadley's Hope. It's been 35 years since the tragedy of the Hadley's Hope colony, but what happened to that ill-fated venture has been shrouded in a mystery. A renegade crew of investigative journalists are heading towards the moon that Weyland Yutani has wiped from all records, and they'll bring back the truth, even if it kills them. And what remains in that bombed-out site will try to do just that. Benjamin Percy and Dave Wachter imagine a terrifying possible future for LV-426 in this celebration of the 35th anniversary of one of the most influential science fiction films of all time. So there you have it. Like I said, that one will be among fans of Aliens must-read list. Just a reminder, don't forget to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe to the Brainstorm Comics and Gaming, your LCS's YouTube channel. Also, we have 2 locations here in Maryland. We have one in Frederick, Maryland. If you're looking for a day trip to do some shopping, hit a couple of restaurants, maybe a couple of candy shops, we'd highly recommend the downtown Frederick location. If you're looking for a lot of back issues to sift through, graphic novels, board games, I would definitely recommend the Walkersville location. Each one has different things to offer. Each one is a pleasant place to visit depending on what you're looking for. So we want to thank you for listening and or watching to this week's The Storm Watch, and we hope to see you next week.